Welcome back. This is Lesson 4 for Visual Basic 105, and this is the first little project in Lesson 4 called Making Decisions with If Statements. I showed you in class the structure of if statements. You can make one-line if statements, or you can use a block statement where you have to execute more than one command, and that's kind of what I'm doing in this one here. This is a very simple example using message box. So if I was to type something, doesn't matter what I type, and I say quit, I want you to notice that this time on the message box I've actually told it to put a yes and a no button. Up until this point all semester we just kind of used message boxes with an OK button. Now I'm going to show you how to get an answer back from the message box. So watch. If they say no, I don't want to quit, then I have it come up with one more little message box that gives them a little surly message, and then it goes back and the program runs. On the other hand, if they quit and say yes, I'm sure I want to quit, then the program goes ahead and ends. Alright, so let me show you how we did that. I'm going to go into the code here and just open this up. There's nothing special on the form, it's just a basic text box and a button. And you can see I don't have much code here, but I wanted to explain some things to you and I wanted to show you how it works. When they click on the button that I called BTN quit right here, we're going to come into this structure down here. I'm going to say if this message box if they respond yes to this message box, then I'm going to close my application. Otherwise, if they don't want to quit, else, we're going to show another message box that just says then make up your mind. It's going to have an OK button in it, and it's going to have an icon that's the exclamation mark. Alright, this is just again one of the many ways that you can show a message box with different features. You can show it with just a message. Here's your message. You can show it with the caption or the text of the message box filled in, and then you can choose what kind of buttons you want and what kind of icon. Well, let's look up here at this first one. If indeed they say they want to quit my program, it comes in here and it evaluates this first statement. Okay? Now the first statement is a little bit long, so let me scroll over here. And in order to make it a little more readable, I want to introduce you to something. I'm going to put in what's called a line continuation character in Visual Basic. Now watch. If I come over here to this part of my code and I type in a underscore character and I hit enter, Visual Basic Editor allows me to break up this line so that I can read it. See, that's a lot more readable, so I don't have to scroll left and right. The rule is you can use this continuation character wherever you want pretty much, but you can't have anything after it. In other words, if I type something here, then that messes it all up, and now it's going to say, I don't know what you're talking about. So as long as you do the underscore character and don't have anything after it, including a space, then you can break up as many lines as you want to. Okay? You will see some people do this with the message box because it's so long and you have so many different features. This is kind of a nice thing, and this is a good point to show it to you. So let's take a look. If we show the message box with the show method, I put in my message, says, are you sure? Alright, so that's the actual message. And then we do a comma because I want to give it another piece of information, and that is, what is the message box going to say when it's actually running? Now that's right here. Okay? Making, if I click on this right here, this system message, that's what I typed in right here. You can see here. That's the caption or the title of the message box. The next thing that you can do is you can tell it what type of buttons you want, and I took message box buttons.yes no. Now when you type this, when I'm typing this message box, watch, if I do a comma, it comes up and says, now the next part of this set of parameters is what kind of buttons you want. So I can do it message box yes no. Okay? So all these things are pretty much spelled out for you. You just have to kind of remember to be careful and to make sure you know what you want to do. After you tell it what kind of buttons, you get to choose the icon. And again, if I was to type in my comma, you can see you get an asterisk. You can have the error, which is an X with a line through it, exclamation hand. You can have all these different icons that you want. And since this is actually an error, actually a question, I'm going to go ahead and use that one. Okay? Now there are other things you can do too, but those are the only ones that I wanted to do at the moment. Now check this out. We want to get a message back from Mr. Message Box. We want to get an answer from them. Did they click yes or did they click no? All right. And in Visual Studio 5, this is how you do it. You're going to say if messagebox.show equals, ignore all this for a minute, windowsforms.dialogresult.yes, then that means they click the yes button. And I know this is a lot of junk to have to write, but that's how we do it now. And so if this is true, if they really did click the yes button that they want to quit, then it comes in here and it runs this code in my little block statement. And the only thing in here is me.close. That's easy. Otherwise, if this is not true, if they click no, it's going to ignore this code and it's going to come down here in the else statement. It's going to show them yet another message box that says, then why don't you make up your mind? After that, that's all it does. Okay? So again, you've got a simple if-else statement. Remember that for every if that you use, you have to have an end if. You can have multiple else statements inside here, but typically you type them as else if. Okay? And in this particular case, I only had to have two decisions, and so one of them was taken care of here, and the other one is taken care of down here. All right, that's all there is to that one.